Okay, this video tutorial looks at the mathematical strand of number. This is also relevant for calculations in Stage 1 Essentials Mathematics, and we're going to focus our understanding on significant figures. So essentially, what are significant figures? Well, significant figures are digits in a number that are deemed to be more important. And this is very, very relevant if we are looking at rounding numbers off. Okay, if we're going to round numbers off, then we need to look at which figures the question is asking us to. So it says, for example, if we're going to round off 32,122, so if we've got 32,122 and we want to round it off to 32,000 flat, okay, we would have rounded it to two significant figures because our final value only has two figures which are not zeros. Okay, so this means that there is two significant figures. If we wanted to round it off to three significant figures, we could potentially do something like this. Okay, because here we have 1, 2, 3 significant figures. All right. Now there's a way of determining how we actually write two significant figures, and we're going to go through a few examples that will help you to understand that. So here are some example questions, and what I've got on the right hand side of the screen is just some steps to be able to help you to ensure basically that you write the correct thing. So it says in question 1, write the following to two significant figures. So we're going to have a number at the end which has two digits that are not zeros. All right, so if we follow our steps, it says first we need to locate the significant figures. Well, we've got 1 here, because that's not a 0, and we've got 1 there. So there are two significant figures. All right. The next step is to identify the figure that's just after, or to the right of the significant figures. All right, so in this case, it's the 3. Now, if this number is 5 or more, we round our left digit, or the digit to the left, up. If it's 4 or less, we round it down. And since this is it's a 3, so it's 4 or less, we actually round down. So this becomes 54,000. Let's have a look at our second example. This might make it a little bit clearer. Our first significant figure is a 3. Our second is a 4. That means our third significant 3 is a 5. Now, if this number is a 5 or more, we actually round up. So instead of this being 34 or 340, okay, that's actually incorrect. We need to rub that out because the 5 causes the 4 to round up. So this actually becomes 350. Let's do a few more examples, but with three significant figures. And let's see if that can help clarify any misunderstandings. If we look at our question C, it says, write the following to three significant figures. Well, we need to identify our three significant figures. Okay, there they are. And now what we're going to do is we're going to identify the fourth significant figure. Now, if the fourth significant figure is a 5 or more, it actually rounds up the third significant figure. Okay, so instead of this being 32,100, it's actually now 32,200. Let's try it for our last question. It says, write the following to three significant figures. Let's identify them. Here's our first, here's our second, here's our third, which means that this 8 is our fourth. And again, the 8 will round our third significant figure up. So this becomes 0.457. Okay, 0, 0. What I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to have a go at some practice questions. Please feel free to pause the video, and once you think you've got the correct answers, continue the video, and we'll see how you went. Alright, so let's have a look at your answers. It says write the following to two significant figures. Well, the first thing we need to do is identify the first two figures. We've got a 1 here and a 2 here. That means that this digit is going to be determining whether we round up or round down. Now we know with a 1 we round down, so this simply becomes 120. In our second question, the first significant figure is a 5, because we don't count zeros as significant figures. The second is a 6, which means our third is the 3. Now we know that we round down with a 3, so this becomes 0.0560. In our next question, it says write the following to three significant figures. Again, we identify our three significant figures, which means our fourth figure is a 7. That means that we need to round up. This becomes 357,000.0, so 357,000. In our last question, we're looking at three significant figures. There are only three significant figures. If there was a fourth figure, it would just be a 0, which means we need to just write the number exactly how it was, 0.0223.